Hi, I'm Blisy.
Hey, if you enjoy the video, consider clicking like, subscribe, bell notification, and the join button. Becoming a channel member is only $4.99 a month. It really helps me out, and you get a bunch of perks like these badges for how long you've been a member for. You get these emojis for my live stream chats, and you get access to my videos when I upload them instead of when I release them. So thanks so much and enjoy the video. Today, everyone, I'm going to be going over every single Gen 6 competitive Pokemon that I have. It's a continuation from yesterday's video where I went over every single competitive Pokemon I bred in Gen 3 through 5. The reason I'm structuring it like this, just as a quick little reminder, is because it's based on, I've organized them in their boxes this way based on which metagames they're playable in. So Pokemon caught and or raised or whatever in Gens 3 through 5 are only playable in Smogon metagames. Pokemon raised in Gen 6 are only playable in Battle Spot formats. And Gen 7 are and Smogon formats, obviously, for Gen 6. And then Gen 7 Pokemon are they're usable in all formats, so that's why it's kind of made like that. And I'm doing this as like a retrospective to all of my Pokemon because because of the way transferring now works, where you can't transfer every single Pokemon. So I'm thinking I'm probably not going to transfer any of these guys, and they're all going to get left behind in this gen when I move to a new one. So I just want to do a tribute to all of my precious children. So first up, we have Clyde the Malamar. So for the record, a lot of these Pokemon, what has happened here is I bred, so basically several summers ago now, the summer that X and Y came out, so probably 2013, 2014? Does it say? Will it tell me when I got it? No. So summer 2013, 2014, I think 2014 summer. I had an extremely boring job. I was a pool boy. I did nothing all day. And so what I eventually did was just start breeding random Pokemon. And I would go into randompokemon.com. I would pick one Pokemon and I would breed it. And I would just do that every single day. And so sometimes there are differences in the formula and sometimes there's not, but we'll discuss that when we get to it. So Clyde. Clyde is just meant to be your super duper typical Malamar set with Contrary. I don't know who was the first one I did. I can't recall, but yeah, this guy is just meant to be like your standard Contrary sweeper with superpower. I don't remember what item I was supposed to have on it, and I don't think I'm supposed to keep Topsy Turvy. Let me check. I don't think that's a move that's good. It's not a bad move, so I don't know. Maybe that was like a gimmick back then. I don't really remember. But the name Clyde, no real reason. I was just like, oh, that's what a squid would be named, Clyde. I thought that's a good name for a squid. Up next, we have my Hump, the Machamp. I got Machamp in the random. Oh no, I didn't actually. This one was not a random breed. This was for a Battle Spot Doubles VGC style team. I wanted. It was supposed to be an Assault Vest Machamp with Heavy Slam for fairy types is kind of like a lore. Just like a kind of a standard-ish set. The name My Hump, an old school name for me. That's what I named my. I had a female Machamp that I used to use on teams in Gen 4 that I named My Hump. And I just, even though it's not a girl, I just kind of kept the name anyway. And because it's like My Hump and kind of sounds like Machamp. Not really, but I don't know. What do you want from me? I was 15. Bunny, the Azumarill. I really like Azumarill. It's a very fun Pokemon for me to use. So this was one I bred on my own as well. It's just like I was very excited for the legal combo of Bellyjet, but I also really like the fairy type that it had. So I didn't go with Bellyjet right away because I think I even might have bred this. I'm not positive if I bred this before Bank happened or not, but regardless, I was very excited to use. And Blissey is. Would Blissey be Kalos? Oh, I'm trying to remember. Hoenn region, yes. So this was bred in ORAS. I would be willing to bet Oh, they're both Blisy. Interesting. I didn't remember that I named myself Blisy in 2013, but I did. So, yeah, this was a bit later in the game, but I was still excited for the fairy typing on Azumarill. Oh, and Bunny, just not a creative name, but like a simple, nice name. It was just like kind of a nice name. So, here comes the FRLG squad. So, FRLG, as many of you know, is my favorite Pokemon of all time. I love this Pokemon to death, and I breed one in every single generation, or not just one, but multiple. They're always named Gold as like a tribute to my child self. Gold is what I would always name it as a child, and I would also always name my trainer Gold, so I just kind of kept that. The first FRLG was bred before the hidden ability was released, and the best set before Sheer Force Gator is out is always going to be SD. You want SD Aquajet, that's the best set by far before Sheer Force is out. However, in Adamant Nature, of course. And you usually do a little bit of bulk. You don't really go max speed with this, especially if you're tending to use a No-You, right? Then, next up is the second Gold. This is Sheer Force. So after Sheer Force was released, Dragon Dance obviously became the best set by far. And so I switched it to Dragon Dance, and I've actually, because I like FRLG so much, I actually update my FRLG sometimes. And so FRLG actually has Liquidation instead of Waterfall, because it is slightly more powerful. And I bred two, it's basically the same set. One is a Jolly Sheer Force DD, the other is Adamant. I do think Jolly is typically superior, but it's just nice to have options with your favorite Pokemon, you know what I mean? Luther, so this is a Luxray I got in, actually, I have two of them. This one's not nicknamed. I think these two... Oh, I see what happened. Okay. So sometimes when... So these two go together, and I'll talk about them together. So these two... So I got Luxray as a random Pokemon, and I bred him. And her, excuse me. And I just did like a standard-ish set, right? Intimidate is clearly its superior ability. Luther is, despite the fact that it's a girl... I don't really care about the genders, right? Luther is was my black cat growing up. Oh, I can actually probably show on my phone. Do I have any notifications? No, I don't. So this is what Luther looked like. So he was like a black cat, or like a what's it called? A tuxedo cat. And so I tend to name all of my cat Pokemon Luther because he was my best friend growing up, pretty much. And so I gave him its standard moves, standard coverage kind of thing, and Volt Switch. And Adamant, because this thing is so slow, I actually don't think it's worth doing speed boosting nature, especially if you're going to go Choice Band, right? You might as well go all the way with the power. And then a second one, sometimes when you were breeding, like I would hatch 5 eggs at once, right? And then I would get them all checked out. So sometimes I would just get extras. So this Luxray also happened to be perfect and didn't have the correct ability. So I've actually never truly finished this one. That's why it's not nicknamed, actually. So it's got Crunch, Thunderfang, Ice Fang, and Fire Fang, because I never finished all of its moves. I didn't want to ability capsule its other ability, but I did keep it there. It's unfortunate that it's not named, but what am I going to do, right? Next up, we have Carlton, the Hitmontop. I got Hitmontop in a random battle thing, and I love Hitmontop. It's fun. His name's Carlton because that's the dance from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. It's really funny that it's doing that, and it's finally not on its head spinning like a top. Very weird. I went with the defensive rapid spin, like kind of utility set, because I thought that was its best opportunity at the time, right? Even in Gen 4, you couldn't really run Technitop very well, so... and Foresight was so you could hit ghosts with rapid spin. That was a cool, like, newish tech at the time. Like, people were starting to think about the game in more interesting ways, I'd say. Why are you also Bunny? Okay, so Excadrill was a Pokemon I was very, very, very excited for being unbanned, so I bred it on my own. So I bred several different Excadrills, right? I bred a Sandrush one because I wasn't sure. First of all, it's Jolly, which I don't know how great Jolly is in the sand. Maybe Jolly is important for Sandrush, I don't know. Oats, I don't know why it's named Oats. I have no recollection, but that's fine. Just a standard SD Sandsweeper. Wingus Dingus, this was named because of my friend Tom. He, who I don't really talk to Tom anymore, not because of anything bad or anything, but we just, just friends drift apart. And so this is like kind of a thing he would say a lot. So I gave it that name in his honor because we were probably talking at the time. Mold Breaker was the ability I was very excited about, like kind of this thing being legal. I know it did get unbanned in Black and White eventually, and I don't remember if it was banned or not by the time X and Y came out in Black and White, but I was excited about this thing. The Mold Breaker is such a cool ability. And so this was just like the standard spinner. This was like for Scarf. This one was for the same thing except banded. Bunny, I have no idea why I named it Bunny. I just can't recall. Fun Pokemon to breed, a fun Pokemon to use. All three of these Pokemon are probably usable in today's metagame if I really wanted to re-EV train them, right? So here we got Clank. So some backstory. Kling actually a favorite of mine. I really like this Pokemon. It's really cool. And it's a favorite late in the game. This actually doesn't happen to me often, but... So my first playthrough on English White version, when I was leveling up all of the Pokemon, so my team had a Gigalith on it when I got to the champion, or not the champion, to Ghetsis' fight, and it had a Gigalith on it, but I did replace I chose to replace Gigalith with the legendary because he was my lowest level by far, and I wasn't using him very much. And when I was collecting all of the Unova Dex Pokemon, which I did do in that game, I actually caught a Kling, and I like leveled it up, and I actually really liked it, so I just kind of kept it on my main squad whenever I was doing like battle challenges or something along those lines. And so I got this in my random thing, and I was like, oh, cool. And so I named it Clank after both the initial Kling, but the initial Kling was also named after Clank from Ratchet & Clank, a video game series very near and dear to my heart. I love those games to death, and so that's why it's named that. And also this guy kind of like this Pokemon's kind of a beast. It's actually very powerful if you really want to use it, you know? It doesn't have a finished moveset. I don't think I've ever used this one, that means. But Shift Gear, Gear Grind is so sick, and I would probably run Wild Charge and like Return or something else on it, or like Magnet Rise. I think I have another one elsewhere. Are you in Attack 2? Other Kling? We're getting into like a minor spoiler territory, but I think I have a second one somewhere. It's not in my battle box. Do I have one? We'll do a quick run around to make sure it's not chilling somewhere else. Because I feel like I've definitely used a Kling in a battle before, so like I actually don't know where my other Kling would be. Oops, I didn't mean to go search. Sorry, getting a little sloppy. I'll go look for him with pause. I don't know where the other Kling is, or if one exists. Oh, actually, last check could be the Gen 7 boxes. So I don't know what I did with this Kling, but because I've definitely used one before. Maybe I just deleted the moves for some reason. I don't know why. But yeah, that's why it's named that and all that kind of junk. So here we have a bunch of Tyrannitars. Sometimes what happens is... Okay. So, sometimes what happens is I'll get a random Pokemon and I'll look at their viable sets, and they'll have like 10 of them. And so I'll just breed all of them. And so this Tyranitar was meant to be a DD Tyranitar, Mega Tyranitar for VGC/Battlespot doubles. So that's why it's got Rock Slide, that's why it's got Protect. Crunch, not the best move option. I don't know why it's there. Probably EQ better, but whatever. It's Adamant, and then it's EV Spread. We have to go into its thing to see its EV Spread, but of course its EV Spread's like crazy as VGC spreads tend to be. Its name is Tranitar because any of you in my Discord who click on my actual name instead of seeing it as Blisy will see it as like Naruto fan Tranitar Trainer. This is like an old ass school meme for me. Back in the day in the Zat chat, a lot of people would have super long dumb names, and like they would have like clan tags and like weeb, like they'd have like Japanese text and stuff like that. And so what I did was I made like a ironic name that was like really funny and had a bunch of dumb characters in it, and also had Tyranitar misspelled, and so it to Tranitar, and so that's what this guy's name is Tranitar for. Next T-Tar is named Slick. This is, what's your nature? Oh, this was traded to me by my friend David. We must have traded, I don't know what I must have given him. But this was just meant to be like a banded T-Tar that could kind of beat other T-Tar. That was pretty much it. The name Slick, just because it's like, I kind of associate being slick with like dark types. So that's kind of why it was named that. Next up, we have another Tyranitar from David. I don't know why I have 2 from him. It seems to be the same exact Tyranitar. He must have had an extra. Well. Next Tyranitar is a Jolly T-Tar named Stone Cold. This is named after the legend Stone Cold 22. He was like he's an old school player. This was pretty much meant for like either max speed Bantar or Scarftar. Probably Scarftar. Although you wouldn't really run Pursuit on Scarftar, but I guess I had it, right? Yeah, so this is named after not Stone Cold like the wrestler or whoever it is, but which is I think what he named himself after, but Stone Cold 22 is like an old school Pokemon legend. He was really, really good. Like kind of like a mentor in terms of like good battle strategy to me and a couple other people. He used to hang around Team Uber and Reggie League and PC 101 a lot, if you remember those days. And I think he was actually like a Smogonite. Like he was actually good and like did Smogon tutoring and stuff, etc. So yeah. Vicky was just like a cute girl name, basically. Another T-Tar from David. Why did we trade so much? And why do all of my Tyranitars have superpower? I actually don't know this. I know for a fact I've used this T-Tar here, the Tranitar that was bred by me. All these other T-Tars I don't remember using. I think they were just like kind of gotten for redundancy's sake, just to have like a bunch of different sets. I don't know why they're all... Yeah, I don't really understand it. So this is an Absol. I remember trading this for someone. So Mocha, I don't remember who this was traded with, but it was like an intentional like chat trade. It was from like maybe a Facebook group or like I can't remember, but it's obviously meant to be a Mega Absol. I think it's got perfect stats, and it is. I definitely traded a Magikarp for it. And I couldn't think of a nickname at the time of the trade, so that's why it doesn't have a name. But yeah, it was just meant to be a Mega Absol. I don't think I've ever used Mega Absol either, so I don't know who this was from. But yeah, pretty cool if you ask me. So these two are really cool. Okay, so very, very different scenario on what's going on here. No, maybe not. So Molly and Manny, the names are meant to be sort of like, I was trying to think of like a name that would like kind of like they're sort of the same, not really, but like basically like the idea is like they sound sort of similar and they're for different gender because Molly's a girl and Manny's a male. They're also both each different nature. This thing was back when BP was still legal, so obviously that's what this is for. But it's no longer legal. I haven't used it in a long time. This one is meant to be more of a sweeper set. That's why it's got the adamant nature and SD, but I don't know how effective that would actually be. Aquatail's a cool tech nowadays to use if you wanted to run Z Crystal with Wateria and Z. That's why Aquatail's there. It probably didn't used to be. Maybe Protect used to be there. I don't know. But yeah, just a really fun Pokemon to use. I got it in my random battle selection. So Sunny is a what's your EV spread? Alright, so yeah, max attack, max speed. So this was this used to be a Swords Dance Brave Bird Flame a Flare Blitz Talonflame. Obviously, since Talonflame's like not great anymore, you can still utilize it, especially if you want to. Z moves gives this thing some use, but as you guys know, Talonflame was an amazing Pokemon in Gen 6. The Thief is there just because I needed to get heart scales from a love disc in this game, so it's just there. The name Sunny is from my bird. I've talked about this last episode, I think, but my bird, I had a parakeet named Sunny, and I named most of my Fireflies after her. I didn't get this one in the random battle challenge. I had an in-game Talonflame that I loved to death, and actually, I brought it with me. I actually didn't mean to import it into this gen, but it's here. These two are two of my Pokemon from my Y version, like in-game actual team, and I accidentally imported them up via Pokebank. And so they're here now. They're not as useful because you can't use HMs. Like this thing with Flame Body and Fly was so useful in Gen 6 to hatching eggs and stuff. And so They're also 2 of the first Pokemon I ever got to level 100 on my own, because I would constantly take them with me through the battle cafe or whatever it's called. But they're both here now. And they were both part of my in-game team in my Y version, and they're both like very, very precious to me. So if they can go up, they probably will, but we'll see. And so anyway, this one was made after using one in-game was so fun and seeing how cool of an ability Gale Wings could be. This is probably Futakuchi, right? Yeah. So Futakuchi is a Mawile with Hyper Cutter, meant to be a Mega Mawile, all-out attacker / sweeper. Brick Break is there to hit the steel types a little bit harder. But it's not an SD Mawile. That wasn't the set, and I eventually stopped using it after a while because this thing got banned from OU, and so I was like, okay, well, I can't use this anymore. Futakuchi, the nickname is, it's what Mawile, it's like the the Japanese myth that Mawile is actually based off of, the woman. And the ability Hyper Cutter, I thought it would be better to have Hyper Cutter on Mawile because of like Land OT and stuff, so I could do damage. My opinion's sort of changed now. Not that I think either ability is bad, but I think Hyper Cutter is probably the best ability. Or Intimidate's a slightly more versatile and better ability. But Hyper Cutter is definitely usable. And this one was also one I was just very excited for a bad Pokemon to potentially become good via Megas, and so I actually remember using this in the Battle Chateau a lot. It was one of the first Pokemon I bred and EV trained, and I actually EV trained it with Super Training before I knew how to Horde EV train, or what it was. Oh! We've come to a favorite of mine. So this is the first... No. Well, yes. This is the first full odds shiny I ever got and like kept. It hatched from an egg. I remember I was waiting in line. So I was waiting in line to try out Smash 4 at a Best Buy with some friends, and I was going through the friend safari looking for a Ditto, and I actually found a shiny Audino in that friend safari. And it was the first, so this was before anyone knew the shiny odds were different, and it doesn't make it any less special to me because I'm not like a full odds hunter or whatever. So I caught it, and I was so excited. It was the first shiny I ever got, because the only other shiny I'd ever even seen or recall seeing was a Banette that I didn't have any Pokeballs for. And so I caught it, and literally 2 hours later on that same line, because obviously everyone was excited to try out Smash 4, I was using the Ditto I eventually caught after the Audino for breeding with an Eevee, and I hatched out this. So Leafeon is my favorite evolution. It used to be Vaporeon, but damn, Leafeon's so cute. And so it is a shiny. It's very cool. It has Leaf Guard, not the hidden ability Chlorophyll, which is obviously better. Although Leaf Guard's probably usable in lower tiers, but I don't know. Jolly Nature, which is really cool. That's the nature I need it to be. And again, before BP was passed, the only thing this thing could really do is like Swords Dance up and like hit hard with Leaf Blade and Double Edge, and then maybe Baton Pass the boost to something else. The name Samos, and also Baton Pass sort of functions similar to U-Turn, so that's kind of why I gave it that. The name Samos is the green sage, which is sort of the plant/life energy sage from the Jak and Daxter games. I love Jak and Daxter. The first one is my favorite game of all time, so I named it after that. This is the this is the Leafeon Samos was supposed to be. This was the eventual one where, because if you notice, Samos does not have perfect stats, by the way. Well, this isn't going to show you, but Samos only has 3 perfect stats, and I've not bothered to hyper train it up yet, but I could. Anyway, moving along to Leafia. So Leafia is kind of the Japanese name for Leafeon, kind of. It's like it's not the greatest romanization of it, but that's what it is. And it's just a perfect stat Leafeon that's not shiny and has the actual ability I wanted it to have. And otherwise the moveset and the EV training is the same. So, cool Pokemon. I really like to use it. It's not very good. It could be good if it had an actual move pool, but who knows? Alright, so here we have 4 Garchomps. I've mentioned before, Garchomp is one of my favorite Pokemon. I've named Garchomp after the Garchomp from... this Garchomp is named after the Garchomp from my in-game. This was also one of the first... Wait, are you one of the first... Who? Which one would it be? I think this was the first one I bred, but I'm not positive. We could actually check by seeing which game they're from. If they're all from Kalos, I couldn't tell you. Hoenn. Wait a minute, are you a Gen 7 Garchomp? Hello? This is a Gen... Ignore this one. What are you doing? This might be the first one I bred. Kalos. Oh, okay, so we'll actually go with this one first. So the Rage, the name is a joke about how angry Garchomp is, and that's why it outrages. And it's like also kind of like the second part of the word outrage. Sandvale, because I like didn't have a hidden ability Gibble at the time, and Sandvale was recently unbanned because Sand wasn't permanent, so I was like, screw it, I can use this. So this was also not EV trained with anything other than super training. So I did a bunch of super training to get this to EV train, and I would use it for like Battle Chateau or Battle Maison, is that what it was called? Yeah, Battle Maison, I think. But anyway, that's what I would use it for. The other two were just sort of upgrades to this. This one, oh no, they're not upgrades. They're upgrades in the sense that this one is a lure with so Rough Skin's the better ability, I think. It punishes U-turns and stuff like that, and Garchomp's so bulky, even with a naive nature, that it can take hits and punish with Rough Skin. So this is meant to be like a lure set. I can't remember if the intent with this one was to make it for Mega. With Max Special Attack, I think the intent was to make it for Mega Garchomp Y, or Mega Garchomp Y, just Mega Garchomp, and it would be like a lore thing where you'd kind of send it out, play it like regular Garchomp for a little bit, and then you would just like bust out the special attacks. Even if you're not running it as Mega Garchomp, a Max Attack Draco Meteor, this is like an old set called Chain Chomp back in the day in Gen 4, where you would just like max out special attack and you would just like Draco Meteor Hippowdon. And so this is basically what that's meant to do. Fire Blast, Steel types, Draco Meteor, like Lando T, and you run Stone Edge and EQ because they're going to hit hard as hell anyway. Panic, named after my in-game Garchomp. Another Panic, the naughty one is definitely meant to be a Sand Force Mega Garchomp, because Naughty is like, since Mega Garchomp is so slow, you don't really run a speed boosting nature typically, especially in Gen 6 with it, so that's why it's Naughty. But otherwise it does the same thing, except it's more powerful in terms of its Draco Meteors, its Fire Blasts, and if you're running it with Sand, this EQ and Stone Edge are going to be even more powerful. So that's what it's doing there. Mudslide, this is just another Lando T. I RNG'd this with P-Calc, I want to say, and it was meant for BGC / Small Gun Singles Choice Band usage. A pretty fun set. And I already talked about this Luxray. So here's the second part of my attack. Oh, hold on. I got a meme. Okay, so these two Zygardes are the event Zygardes. They are both hyper trained. They came at level 100, which is fine. And I just soft reset for their natures over and over again. I actually initially wanted to disassemble them when trading them up, but realized I'm not allowed to disassemble them because of the ribbon that is on them. So yeah, neither of them are RNG abused, but they are both hyper trained. And this one is like a really fun, specific, careful, sub-toxic set. Just really, really annoying Zygarde set. Like, very special defensive bulky. And this is just your standard Double Dance Zygarde. Both of them are banned nowadays, but, you know, it'll probably... Well, I was going to say this would be fun to to bring up to Gen 8 and use, but I probably can't. And I can't use it to there. Well, it would maybe have gotten unbanned, even temporarily. So here are two Azumarils. Damo gave me this one. This is actually a Gen 7 Azumarill. It was meant for a video that I was going to do. I was really excited when Sap Sipper got released to be legal as like a Parish Chopper with Whirlpool to bait in Ferrothorn. However, I never made the video. I only got it halfway done. But thank you for sending this to me, Damo. I'm pretty sure I hyper trained it. No. But none of this shit matters anyway, because all it's meant to do is trap Ferrothorn. This is another Azumarill. Oh, this is a Belly Jet Azumarill. It's named the same as the other Azumarill because that's just how it goes. Man, it's just a belly jet one with knockoff. Just a really fun set. Like I said, I was excited for the legalization of belly jet. This is a Gyarados with Moxie. It was not meant to be... well, it's not meant to be Mega Gyarados, but it was, like, more utilized for regular Gyarados. And especially with Bounce, which is, like, the flying stab for it. Which is not bad, by the way. People think that, like, Bounce was not good before the Z move. That's not true. You could definitely use regular Bounce Gyarados. And I think at the time I was still probably also expecting... I was also expecting the gems to come back at some point, like Flying Gem Bounce to just nuke stuff, but it never happened, so. And this is probably just an Intimidate one. Meant to do a similar thing, but this is definitely meant to be Mega Gyarados, as it has Crunch instead of Bounce. Otherwise, the sets are the same. And Intimidate is way better for Mega Gyarados, if you ask me. The name's Amanda and Marley. I don't know what's up with them. Amanda is my girlfriend's name, but I got this Gyarados and named it before I even met her, so I don't know what's up. Marley to me seems kind of like a seaside name. I don't know why. I can't explain it, but like ocean girl names. I don't know. It's a dumb thing, but that's just why. And I don't know why Amanda. I have no idea. I think I just wanted to name them just regular woman names because they were both female. I don't know. Chanterelle is a type of mushroom. That's why it's named that. Spore SD Technician Jolly Breloom is one of my favorite leads of all time. I don't think it's very good anymore. It was good in Gen 5, but lead Spore with Focus Sash, you would just Spore something, you would SD, and then you would just Mach Punch and Bullet Seed everything to hell. One of my favorite Pokemon to use of all time. Like I said, Chanterelle is just a type of mushroom. I can't remember if I got this during the random generation or not. I think I want to say I did. I probably wouldn't choose to use a Breloom. This was like a showdown usage type of thing for me. So I want to say I got a random Shroomish, and that's where this came about from. Yeah, I just nuked stuff with the Bullet Seed Mach Punch. It was so fun, especially in Gen 5. It's not that good nowadays, though. And we have Roxy. This is just a normal SR exploding lead. I talked about how much I love this thing last gen. This is probably from Omega Ruby or Alpha Sapphire. It's all blue, so I want to say I P-Calc RNG'd this thing just so I could get like a good Azelf. But there's a chance I reset for it, because it's kind of easy to get it. And all you need is a speed boosting nature, so. But yeah, I love Azelf. I love just clicking Explosion turn 1 without even setting up SR. It's such a fun mon to use. Highly recommend you guys try it if you haven't. Oh, you know, the Gyarados might have been bred, by the way. I was maybe excited for Mega Gyarados, but they were also probably bred from the random challenge, I would guess. Alright, so here we have a bunch of my random challenge guys. So, this guy's definitely from a random challenge where I just, like, you know what I mean. I went to randompokemon.com, I hit the button, and I got a Clawitzer. So I just bred the best Clawitzer set I thought I could, which was modest for a spec set with all of the pulse moves and Ice Beam for coverage. Named Shella, because it kind of sounded like a girl's name, and Shell. It's got a big old shell. That's cool. This is a fun mon to use, by the way. If you've not used this Pokemon, it's extremely fun to use, so I would recommend it. Bzz. So I've got several Rotoms here. 2 bzzz and 1 ksh. Bzz is like a joke from me and my friend Dom, who used to play League of Legends together with a lot. And the joke about like the mecha skins was bzz. That's how they would just go bzz. It's just dumb humor. I bred several Rotoms. I was still convinced at the time that Rotom Heat was probably kind of good. Everyone knows this is so good. This is meant to be like an offensive pivot. I've sort of modernized it with Papa Berry. But yeah, so this is a cool Pokemon to use, just Volt switching around, Hydro Pumping, Wisping stuff. Very good check to lots of different Pokemon, so very, very standard-ish Pokemon. This guy is just sort of the perfect check to Scizor, who I was sort of anticipating to be all over the place with Mega Scizor, but it didn't really end up that way. And Rotom was from the random challenge, and I just bred several Rotom sets because I was expecting them to all be kind of, I was just expecting it to be like popular. Especially Heat. I had my money on Rotom Heat, guys. And Ksht is a joke. If anyone ever had an old school PSP like Model 1000, that is Ksht is the noise the PSP made when it was loading games. That is a fact. Do not tell me that isn't the noise it made. I don't know what hidden power I have on this thing. And they're both just modest, timid variants of each other. And then this one is modest. It was meant to be like offensive pivot. Echo, so Polytoad, if you notice it's modest, so I got Polytoad in my random generator, and so it's named after Echo, the friend I told you about last episode. Echo, Polytoad was one of his favorite Pokemon. He even used to use a Sub-Punch Polytoad set in Gen 4. Hilarious, if you ask me. He was effective with it. It's not a very good Pokemon, but if you want to budget to work, you could. However, my set is, if you notice, it's Hydro Pump, Ice Beam, Hypnosis. Water Gun's the last move. I've actually definitely used this Pokemon before with Water Gun, because Specs Polytoad is one of my favorite memes from Gen 5. That Pokemon does so much damage with Specs Hydro, it's hilarious. So, of course, when I got Polytoad, I knew I was going to breed my favorite set from Gen 5. And even though in Gen 6 it wasn't anywhere near as good, especially in Gen 7 it's nowhere near as good as Pelipper, but if I want to use this, break out the Specs, I'll do it sometimes because it's freaking hilarious. And I love this Pokemon. Aurorus is another Pokemon I got in the random challenge. I went with Refrigerate, despite the fact that I seem to have no normal type moves on this. I'm sure I meant to have Hyper Beam on it, but yeah. I thought like a modest spec set was probably the best way to go for this thing. Because it's just like, its typing is bad and all of its stats are bad. So I didn't even want to breed one, but I did. Even because it was the random challenge. I was just breeding random guys. Miamore Jr. Miamore is the name of the one that I use in my in-game playthroughs. So this was actually on my in-game team, along with that Talonflame and Garchomp. I think that's all I have to say about this guy. I probably never used it in a battle because it's such a bad Pokemon. Okay, so we got three-way the Magneton, and we have third kind the Magnezone. So I got Magnezone in the random Pokemon challenge, but I decided to just breed Magneton as well because you can use Magneton for a similar purpose if you would like. It's a little more powerful, or no, it's there's a few things you can do with it, but basically this thing is just a slightly faster Steel-type Trapper than Magnezone is. So I bred two of them. And third kind the name is because the move, it looks like a UFO, and there's like a movie about aliens called Close Encounters with a Third Kind. That's it. Three-way names sort of self-explanatory there. And their movesets are also sort of self-explanatory. I don't even have a fourth move on them. So there you go. Shima, this was a Greninja, Protean Greninja I bred right when the game came out, and it got banned once ORAS came out, so I never really used this too much. Shima, I think, is the old lady from Naruto, the old lady toad from Naruto, that like sits on Jiraiya's shoulder or whatever. This was just like kind of like a standard set at the time. Like I bred this right when the game came out, and it's because I got it in the random Pokemon challenge, but it was like one of the first ones I got, I want to say. And I went with Hasty Nature because I wanted like extra damage on U-turn, basically. Even though I don't know if I would run that nowadays, but yeah, not the worst. And I could still switch up all the moves if I wanted to. You know, drop Gunk Shot on here, whatever. So this is a very versatile Pokemon, easily still usable today if I really wanted to. I would just have to change its moves up. Sherbhurt, this is just a Vanillix. I got it in the random challenge. It was meant to be like a sub-toxic stall set. Because I think at the time Vanillix didn't have Snow Warning. That's a Gen 7 thing, and it's such a bad Pokemon that you just like, when did it get it? When did it get Snow Warning? I actually have to check. I want to say it's a Gen 7 change, but I could be wrong. Yeah, it was a Gen 7 change. So this was just like viewed as sort of like a really bad Pokemon. So, oh, and get out of my face. So I was viewed as sort of a really bad Pokemon, and so I just kind of did a sub-toxic set with it with Blizzard to just like spam through. The name Sherbhurt is, I just think it's a funny pun. I've since switched it to Snow Warning, where its Blizzards will now hit all of the time. Here we have Chandelures. I have two of them. I don't know what's... Oh, wait. This other one's a shiny, isn't it? Yeah, okay. So, this one I also got in the random challenge. I think Timid Specs Flash Fire is probably the best set. And so I was probably running Specs or Scarf with this one. I I would imagine, actually, maybe Scarf if it's timid. Just the standard coverage for this Pokemon, really. Named Wendy after a, one of the head of the department at the school I went to for culinary, because she was, like, influential to me, and I was like, oh, I'll name this after her. This I got in a Wonder Trade. That's it. It's probably hacked. I don't care. Super cool. So I kept it. That's it. This thing I got from... Oh my god, the story with this one, by the way. So I did get this... No, wait. Hold on. No, I didn't. Let me double check. So I think I had to breed this for the Random Pokemon Challenge, but I didn't get it for the Random Pokemon Challenge. Okay, yeah, so here's what happened. So, I got a Chatot in the Random Pokemon Challenge. However, in order to get Boom Burst, you need to do it as an egg move. So, I had to breed a Noivern in order to breed with the Chatot. And I thought, well, if I'm going to have a perfect statted Noivern, I might as well just... Or if I'm going to breed for an egg move, I might as well breed a perfect statted Noivern first. And so that's where this came from. Infiltrator, obviously a great ability, bypassing screens and substitutes. Boom Burst was just there so I could give it to the Chatot and drop the base because it's a funny meme name. That's all I got to say about this one. So this was a whole process, right? Like, I got the Chatot and I was looking at it and I was like, damn, I actually can't use this Chatot without Boom Burst because it's stabbed for Chatot. And so I was like, okay, well, I'll breed this first so I could do it and pass it down and all that kind of junk. So I thought that was fun. Dude 1991, this is a Starmie, got in the Random Challenge as well. A very, very bog standard Starmie set. Just Life Orb Attacker. I actually don't know why I have her cover on it. That should go for Ice Beam or something. And it'd probably get Hydro Pump now if I was doing this too. And it has Natural Cure instead of Analytic because I didn't realize Analytic worked with switching at the time. So I was like, whatever, Analytic. Why would I use Analytic on Starmie? It's so fast. It's named Dude 1991 after my friend Tom, who hates Starmie. Starmie notoriously crashed his game as he was finishing collecting all of the Pokemon on his emulator, and then his save file corrupted. And so he hates Starmie, so I named my Starmies after him. So here we have Charizard. I got Charizard in the Random Pokemon Challenge, and I bred 4 of them. I swear I have more, but I bred 4 of them because I just wanted to have good sets for all of them for Charizard Y. So these 2 are the first ones that happened. They're the Blaze ones. Just modest, timid variants of each other. Oh, they're named Doug. Oh, it's just like some like meme with my friends and I that like the green Charizard skin from Super Smash Bros. Brawl was he was the green Charizard only was Doug. I don't know why that was the meme, but that was the meme, and so that's why Charizard's named Doug. This is a third one. This one has solar power instead of this one has solar power instead of the regular ability Blaze, also named Doug. And I want to say it's naive because that was just like this one just like popped out. Like I was breeding for like the perfect stats or something, and I didn't have an Everstone on a Ditto or whatever, and it just like had the naive nature, but it's all stats were perfect, so I was like, whatever, I'll just keep it. So it's also meant to be there, but yeah. And I could use it in lower tiers if I wanted. This was one I got while breeding for these 3, and it just hatched. I just got lucky. Modest nature. However, I had to hyper train it, I believe. Because that's why it's 100. I don't think. Yeah, so those 2 stats are hyper trained. I don't remember what they were before I hyper trained them, but at the time, I was pretty excited to have it, and even if he didn't have max speed, I was like, oh, I'll keep it. And I kept it around, and I did EV train it and all that just to have like a decent shiny Charizard that's cool, even though speed is very important on it. But yeah, it was just fun. This is a Focus Energy Sniper Meme Kingdra set, meant to get Baton Pass and Agility Boost, which obviously Baton Pass is banned. My friend David traded me this one. It's named Deimos, just after Jack and Daxter Deimos. I don't remember what I traded him for this, or why. I'm sorry, I can't remember, but I've definitely used this in battle before, because I think I think crit draw is hysterical. This is another one named after Dr. Tran. This one I probably soft reset for in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire a bunch. And this seems to be meant for battle spot doubles. That's why it's got. That's the only explanation I can think of for Heat Wave. Maybe this was like for a chalk setup if I was flirting with the idea of using chalk. I don't know. But it's named after Dr. Tran, the animated thing. Alright, so we have my Jeffs here. So Lilligant, another favorite of mine. And so when I got it in the random challenge, I was very excited, and I bred several of them. They're all chlorophyll. They all have the same exact spread. I actually don't know why I have just 2 of these. One of them must have just been like a leftover that I just got by accident, so I just kept it. Basically, when white version first came out, I saw a Petalil, and I was like, oh, cool, I'm going to catch you and name you Jeff. And I caught it, and I named it Jeff, and I was like, oh, you're a girl. And so I encountered a few more, and they were all female, and I was like, damn, I guess I just can't find a boy Jeff. And so I just named it Jeff. And so now I name all my Lilligants some variant of Jeff. I'll spell it differently. So we got Jeff with the J, Geoff, we have Geoffrey. There you go. These 2 were just the original ones, modest, timid variants of each other. Actually, one has a worse defense stat. Hello? Oh, are they different? Wait. Why is the defense stat changing? Their defense stat isn't perfect. Was I breeding for a hidden power? Are these meant to have a HP ice or something? They must be. Maybe they're different hidden powers. You also have different defense. That's fantastic. Whoa, you're not even good. Oh no, this is probably HP. I bet all of these have different hidden powers, actually. I bet this is like, one of these timid ones has HP Ice, and then this one has like HP Fire or something. I actually don't know. Huh. Interesting. Maybe HP Fighting as well? I actually don't know what's up with these things. I actually don't know about this, guys. I actually have no idea. Oh, so this is another Feraligatr I have named Gold. This is meant to be an RU Agility Special Attacking Sheer Force Feraligatr. This shit's hilarious. Use this in a low tier if you have the chance in RU or something. It's so funny to use because it's actually kind of powerful and it's hysterical. 10 out of 10. Couldn't recommend it more. So this is a Meloetta I RNG'd to have perfect stats, I think. No, I just hyper-trained. I just soft reset for a timid one and I hyper-trained it once I traded it up here. I've never used it, but timid nature, really good nature for this thing. This is a Pokemon I always wanted to use that I never got around to. This is another one I got in the random Pokemon challenge. And so I went with Tinted Lens because I thought like a Specs Tinted Lens one. I think Speed Boost Yamna Yan Mega isn't that great. I named it Kuja after my friend who used to run the website with me, Pokecentral 101. Yan Mega was always sort of his signature Pokemon, so I tend to name my Yanma after Kuja. And just kind of a standard set. It has Psychic on it. I'm sure that's a lore for something. I couldn't tell you what. What I'm trying to hit with that Psychic. But yeah, it's pretty fun. And U-Turns is pretty good too. So yeah. We have a Roserade named Mr. Winchell. Just a sort of a standard Spikes, Sleep Powder, defensive pivot Roserade with Natural Cure. It's named after Mr. Winchell. I got this in the random battle challenge again. A lot of these sets, by the way, if some of them like seem kind of weird. So for example, this set even to me seems weird. I'm like, why do I have a Calm Roserade? I think it's because at the time, the best, like the highest recommended Smogon spread was a defensive one, right? Like whatever tier Roserade was in at the time, it was being recommended to use this Roserade. And so I just picked the most standard set I could. It's named Mr. Winchell after there's a weather reporter in Drake and Josh that they always talked about its nice hair, and Roserade has nice hair. And that's the meme. This is a Goodry bred, again from the random battle challenge. I didn't even finish its moveset, as you can see, with Bubble and Absorb on there. I thought Sap Sipper was the best ability on this thing, because I think the other ability is kind of lame. whatever, the one that lowers your speed, Gooey. And Modest because it was just got a good special attack stat. That's what you want to do. Like, I wanted to use it as like a tank, not a tank. A tank. A tank in Pokemon is like something that can take hits and dish them back, whereas a wall is like something that just takes hits, like Blisy. His name is Slime Cognito after the character Slim Cognito from Ratchet and Clank, because his name is Slime. It's slimy. That's it. That's all I got. Volcanion. This one, darn, RNG'd this. No, I just soft reset for this one. I must have just soft reset until I got like good enough, and I was like, yeah, this is good enough for me. It was just the one from the movie. Nothing special. I never ended up using it. Dancy, same thing here. This one I hyper trained, and it was meant to be Mega Deancey, and I traded it up to use it as Mega Deancey in this gen, and it was like for a long time you couldn't get Diancite, so I never ended up using this thing. So I've never used this in a battle either. Then over here is another Volcanion with just a different nature for superpower, so I could lure. I don't know who superpower is trying to hit. What type does that hit? That like fire doesn't nuke. I guess because rock types get hit by earth power. And also Steam Eruption, hello? I don't know what superpower is doing there. Maybe for dark types? I don't know. But it's there. Now we have my defensive set. So we have trees in all caps. This one also from the random challenge. It's named Trees. I don't know why. I couldn't tell you. And this was just like a typical max defense, max HP one because its natural def is so high and bulky. And just meant to like be a standard kind of cleric thing. We have another The Rack, another Landorus. Earthquake, Stone Age, U-Turn, Stealth Rock. The most boring set alive. It's chilling. I explained the Rack story last video, but for those who didn't watch the whole hour of it or whatever, go watch it, because I'm not telling the story again. We have, not kosher nicknames. We have Venusaur, 2 of them. 2 different Venusaurs, basically meant to do the same exact thing. They're meant to be Mega Venusaur, but one is meant to be special defensive, and the other one's meant to be physical defensive. I give them Chlorophyll because I was like, oh yeah, hidden ability is the wave. Like, that's the shit you're trying to use. And actually, you probably should have not given them that, but yeah, that just were meant to be like kind of drain tanks, right? Where they could deal a bunch of damage. He's supposed to have Toxic, he just never got it. And that's it. I mean, nothing else to it, but also from the Random Battle Challenge. Spaghetti, my Tangrowth, also from the Random Battle Challenge. I think this is a perfect nickname for Tangrowth. I'll fight anyone who says it's not. This is meant to be like a physical defensive Rocky Helmet Tang that can kind of just slap boys with knockoff and hidden power. Probably HP Ice, I'm sure. I can't believe I bred for HP Ice. That could be HP Fire as well. I can't believe I bred for a hidden power at all. I'm very impatient when it comes to that, so I don't know. I can't believe I did it. Again, it's just meant to be like a very beefy tank. Bold instead of the speed lowering nature. I probably should have run the speed lowering nature, but I don't know. And then we have Checkmate, the Vespiquen, because it's like a chess piece, like a queen chess piece. That was my thought. Anyway, Attack Order, sick move, really strong move. The best bug move probably in the universe, but only Vespiquen gets it, so kind of sucks. Meant to be like a Toxic Staller with sub. Obviously, this Pokemon sucks, I know, obviously, but I got it in my random challenge. And this thing took me like 4 days to breed. Getting a 6 stat Vespiquen when a female Combi is just like such a pain. So I was just like, just dying doing this. But I did get one eventually. It is very beautiful and I'm very proud of it. And this is just a fun Pokemon to use if you want to use like a crappy low tier. And then the only other Pokemon we have left are my... Where are you at? My Battle Spot doubles, I think. So these are my... there's the other Charizards. I knew I had a bunch more. I knew it. I was like, there's no way I only have 4 Charizards. Okay. I have 8 Charizards, as it turns out. So this is a Suicune I RNG'd in my Omega Ruby or Alpha Sapphire. I can't recall. For Battle Spot doubles and VGC. I used Peacock to RNG it, of course. And I named it the same thing as my other Shiny Coon. Oh, the recipe? Okay. Okay. That's all for Suicune, I think. I forgot what I was doing. Standard VGC set. Tailwind for speed boosting. Snarl to lower special attacks. Scald to burn everyone. And Ice Beam for dragon coverage. Cresselia. I got this from Wonder Trade. It was named Serenity Moon, and I was like, damn, I'll keep this. Even though obviously it's probably hacked, but why not keep it, right? No reason not keep it. It's useful. Cool name. Got another Tornadus. Or Thunderous. I think I RNG this with Peacock to get shiny. This is a standard S, a VGC S, T-Waven, Hidden Power Icing, Thunderous S. Boy. This is Superstar, my Clefairy. This thing's lit. I made a video about this, old-ass video about this. If you want to, I'll link it in the description or in the comments or something, but I made a video about how sick Clefairy is in doubles. It's named Superstar, like I always name my Clefables. Friend Guard reduces the damage your allies take by like half or something. And you give this thing an Eviolite, and with max defenses, it's actually super bulky. And so you just basically make everything hit you with Follow Me, and then you helping hand your ally, and you just destroy stuff. It's sick. This is the same Machamp as the other one that I talked about earlier, except it has Protect, and it's for Trick Room teams with the Brave Nature. No differences, same nickname. And it's actually a girl, so my hump fits better. We have two Arcanines. They're both sort of meant to do similar things. One is meant of more... One clearly has much more utility than the other. Because this one, I think they're just EV trained differently. Yeah, one is meant to be way more all-purpose than the other. But this one is way more utility. Will-O-Wisp for burns, Snarl for special attack lowers, and Morning Sun to heal up, and Flamethrower for damage. Similar thing, except this one's got extreme speed and flare blitz, so it's meant to do a bit more damage, I would say. The name 21 Dog Street, I think that name is the funniest thing on the planet. Just a dumb joke between me and my friend. Here we have way more Dougs. Two of them aren't even nicknamed. What the heck? Anyway, basically, it was the same thing as the other Charizards, where I wanted to have a bunch of Charizards. Like I said, when I got Charizard in the random challenge, I literally bred 8 sets of Charizard so I could have all the potential sets. So this is also for Charizard Y. This is a Modest Heatwave Protect one with Will-O-Wisp for doubles. This one is a Modest Overheat Protect one, so like a way bigger nuke. Overheat Heatwave, so it doesn't have Will-O-Wisp. So this one could do more nuking. This one is the same thing, like the overheat nuking, but it's timid instead, and this is the same one as the Will-O-Wisp one, but it's timid instead of modest. And that's all of my Gen 6 Pokemon. A little bit shorter than the last video, but I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you for the final one tomorrow. Bye! I just want to thank my channel members so much. You guys are amazing. Without this kind of support, I wouldn't be able to put out the videos I do, and I wouldn't be able to stream as frequently. Thanks so much. If you want to consider becoming a member, just click the join button underneath this video or at my channel page. It's only $4.99 a month. It really helps me out. I'm extremely uncomfortable doing these kinds of plugs, but I'm doing it anyway because the money helps. And if you can't or don't want to, don't feel bad. I'm just asking because... yeah. Thanks so much, guys. You're all amazing. See you next video.